This is WT for TST, and tonight we're honoured to be joined by Kieran Farrell. How are you doing, mate?
Yes, good, mate. Good. How are you, Will?
Very well, mate. Very well. Oh, mate. I'm not sure about the FA Cup though. You been watching?
You know, mate, I don't even watch the football, but I'll be honest, I'm not. I don't know. I've just stuck the Sky Sports, Sky News on right now, to try and keep up with all this COVID stuff because I'm thinking about the kids getting them in the gym and that, and I feel pretty bad, like because they've been out for ages now. You know what I mean? And it's not good for the growth of the boxers. You know what I mean?
Mate, I don't know what we talk about in terms of COVID and stuff, mate, because it's like for one sport's okay, boxing's not. Mate, well, let's not get into that just now.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's get into this anyway. So we've asked you to come on because we've done loads with some boxers, coaches, even an MC now. Now you tick loads of boxes, all right? So you're ticking the boxer, you tick in the manager, you tick in the promoter, you tick in the matchmaker, and I just think. Let's get you on. Let's have your story and let's see. So it starts. We always start on TST with you really, and trying to get to know you a bit better behind the gloves and your life. So your life started Haywood near Manchester.
Yes.
What's that like growing up, mate?
So we grew up on a council estate. Me and my two brothers, my mum and my dad. My dad was always out grafting, working hard, tarmacking. And my mum was at home with us three, and that must have been hard for her because we used to kill each other. And I actually was the one who was pretty under, so I was the one giving out the black eyes and that. And I'd probably give a couple of people a black eye outside. So I got sent to the boxing gym when I was 7 on my 7th birthday, and I loved it. I fell in love with it, but I just always wanted to be a bit different. So when everyone was saying that they play for a football team, like the local football teams, I wanted to say that I'm a boxer, you know what I mean? So went to the boxing gym, and I never really said I'm a boxer, but if they said to me, "What, do you not play football?" Like, no, I go boxing, you know what I mean? I sort of went down that road myself, and then it was always a hobby from age 7 to age 15. It was just a hobby, but it was a hobby where I seen a future in it for myself, because I remember in year 5, which I would have been 10-year-old, the teacher said to me, "What you're going to be when you're older?" I was like, "Well, I'm going to be a professional boxer." And she went, "Well, what happens if you break your hands and that?" I said, "Well, I'll go tarmacking with my dad and that." And she went, "Well, you need your hands for raking and stuff like that." And I said, "Look, if I break my hands," I said, "my dad will find me something to do." I said like that. Anyway, fast forward the tape, I ended up becoming professional boxer, winning essentially every title, and I sent my teacher a postcard because a lad who I know was in the gym with he was working with her at the time, and he said, "Look, I did it anyway. I got a picture, signed it, and sent it to her." I said, "Look, I did what I said I was going to do." You know what I mean? So,
and then her face.
Yeah,
she'll have known it.
I'd like to think so. Anyway, you know what I mean. She stayed in touch with me. She emailed me a few times. She helped me out with a few things as well. After I had my brain injury, she helped me out with a few things, just emails and stuff like that. But I appreciated her help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, spot on, mate. So 15 then. Is this when you start amateurs at that point?
So no, I was amateur. I was in the gym from age 7, and I had my first fight when I was 11. I got my medical card, so my boxing card, when I was 10, because we got told that you could fight in Wales when you're 10. But I was always really light, so there weren't anyone to fight in Wales at the time. With my age being as light as I was, I think I had my first fight at about 28 kilogram, which is about, I don't know, about 4 stone or something like that. It's pretty light anyway. And anyway, what's it called? I ended up getting my first fight when I was 11, and then it went on from there. For age 15, I got dedicated, which was a difference. The difference was it went from an hobby to this is what I really want to do. I was sick of being the class clown, if you will, at school. I didn't really want to be that anymore. Everyone was like, "Oh, Kieran's really hard. He's a boxer," even though I was like fucking 4'2" or something. You know what I mean? But I got dedicated to boxing. I actually lost a little bit of weight because I put a little bit of weight on when I was about 15. I was eating a lot of burgers and chips and just sat there playing on computer games, Grand Theft Auto, Need for Speed, you know, and what's it called? Yeah, I got put a bit of weight on, then I got it all back off. I went to Borsha ABC, from Bury ABC to Borsha ABC. Went to Borsha. Ronnie Ephraim was there, who was my age. Ronnie was a top fighter, and he sort of inspired me and motivated me a little bit to start working hard because I wanted to be where he was, and it become a nice like a I don't know. It was always something what I'd inspired to be like. He was someone who I inspired to be like in the gym, and I got to there. I got to the same point as Ronnie. Ronnie were winning everything. I started winning everything. Fought for England when I was 17. Junior ABA national final age 16. Won the Junior ABA's national finals in 2007, and then I beat everyone. I beat Michael Conlon. I beat Tommy Stubbs. I beat fucking national champions week in, week out. And I just started beating everyone. And I had this mentality where I can't be beat. And then I turned pro when I was in 2008 after I won the ABAs, after I won the GB Three Nations, champion of Great Britain. And I thought, I've done everything I need to do. I want to turn pro. So I turned pro. And I thought, let's go, you know what I mean? And no one really believed me. I don't think at first. They thought it was a good fight, but it was all saying to me, stay on for the senior ABAs and try and win an ABA title because it holds more weight with the promoters than that. But I weren't interested in listening to that. Well, like, look, I've done what I want to do. Take me sparring. I want to spar some pros. So I ended up sparring. It was Paul Edwards who went on to win a British title at flyweight, and I was only flyweight when I turned pro. Was it 8 stone, 18-year-old, 5'2", skinner, and went over to spar Paul Edwards, and I don't think he'll mind me saying that I smashed him up, mate. And what's it called? I started sparring Paul regularly. He went on to win a British title. Then I sparred with Chris Edwards before my debut. So Chris Edwards was from Stoke. He was 42-year-old, and I think he died of an heart attack, you know. And he was a top fighter. He was a really aggressive fighter. Come forward. He had a really good work rate. He threw loads of punches, and I got in there with him, and I think I nearly knocked him out. And there was like, wow, this guy can fight. You know what I mean? And he won the British title the day before I boxed my pro debut. He won the British title against Wayne Bloy at flyweight on Sky Sports the night before I made my professional debut. And I made my debut, age 18, fought a lad called Gary Shield. Gary Shield was 0-7, but Gary Shield, it fought Ian Napper, who was a European champion, Jamie McDonald, who was a world champion, Scott Quigg, who was a world champion, Paul Edwards, British champion, Chris Edwards, British champion, I think Ashley Sexton or something like that. Anyway, Don Broadhurst as well, he fought. Anyway, none of them stopped him. None of them stopped him. And I remember saying when I said to Steve Wood, who was my manager at the time, I said, look, I'm going to knock him out. And he went like, I said, no chance. He said, I'll bet you 300 quid you don't knock him out. I said, listen, I'll bet you 300 pound that I do knock him out. Anyway, I got in there and I knocked him out in the third round and I was buzzing, mate. I was really sure. Yeah.
And a bonus.
Yeah, I got a bonus, mate, yeah.
So, mate, you've done loads of my work for me there because I had all that scripted out. It's brilliant. Yeah. So, we're at the point now where you go, after your debut, you go 12 unbeaten, don't you? And the next one, the Central Area title, the one you talked about with the postcard, and the English title eliminator. Talk us through that one. Yeah.
So, it was funny because I was training with Bobby Rimmer for my first, it would be my, I'm trying to think now, my first 11 fights. I trained with Bobby Rimmer in Manchester. Bobby is like a father figure to me, even though I've got a father. He was like a father figure, took me under his wing. I had my pro debut with Bobby, went right up to 11-0. But then I couldn't get sparring in Manchester, which sounds daft really, but there were no one who could spar with me, even though there was like the likes of Crawler, Murray, John Murray, there was always Gallagher, and sort of like Gallagher's gym was like it was like you couldn't really get into Gallagher's gym to go and spar, you know what I mean? So at the time I was like, look, I need to spar. So I ended up contacting Ashley Fearfane on Facebook, and I went down and I got 2 trains down to it was called Wetford in London, and I went down there and I turned up and I walked in. It was like something out of Rocky 2. I walked in there and it was full of like loads of big sweaty guys just hitting speedballs, and they all stopped and looked at me because I come in there, a little boy with a little bag there, and I went in and I went, I'm here to spar Asher Fearfane at the entrance. They were like, "You're here to spar the British champ," like that. Everyone stopped and looked, and I'm like, "Shit, yeah, I'm here to spar him," like that. So anyway, I walked in the gym. I met Spencer Oliver, Don Charles. I think Derek Chisora were training there at the time as well, and I had what's it called? I sparred Asher Fearfane. They did about 16 rounds with him, and they was like, "Wow, this kid can fight," you know what I mean? So I met them there, and then I come back, and I what's it called? I ended up contacting a lad who I know in Ireland who was friends with Paul McCloskey, and I wanted to go and spar Paul McCloskey because he just fought for the WBA world title against Amir Khan, and I thought I want to test myself and see how good I am because I knew how good I did with Asher Fearfane, who was a British champion at light welterweight, and I was only a lightweight really. But I what's it called? I wanted to see how good I was, so I went over to. I actually got in touch with John Breen, and I said I'm going to come over. I'm going to fly over, but I don't think they took me serious. So anyway, I turned up. I was in Belfast International Airport, and I rang this number for John Breen, and he's like, "Who's this?" I'm like, "It's Kieran Farrell. I'm here to spar with Paul McCloskey." And he went, "What do you mean you're here to spar him?" I said, I'm at Belfast International. I told you I was coming." All right, sound like that. So anyway, they come and pick me up, and I walked in, and I remember the song what was on the radio at the time. It was called it was one of them Sean Paul songs. Oh, oh. I remember going into the going into the gym, and it was red hot. It was the gym. It was the old gym above the pub, which where all the legends are trained, your Eamon McGee's and everyone. And I went in there and I was sweating from the armpits, and I was like, "Wow, this is a bit of me. This I love it." I went in there and they told me I were too small to spar Paul McCloskey. So I'm like, all right, whatever you say, I'm not asked, like, you know what I mean? But I've sparred everyone. Everyone come to spar the Manchester kid. So then, anyway, I come back home after having a good little week of sparring. I sparred Eamon McGee Jr., who actually got murdered. It's Eamon McGee's son. He got murdered. He got knifed, and R.I.P. to Eamon McGee Jr. He was a top prospect, and he was a spit out of his dad's mouth. He was a southpaw, great boxer, and it was top sparring, and I loved it. And then when I come home, I'll be sat on the toilet, and I'm like thinking to myself, I need to be pushing myself and sparring these top fighters, and I'm not getting it in Manchester. I weren't getting it in Manchester. I thought I need to get it, so that's sort of what took me over. So I ended up parting company with Bobby, even though we're still good friends now and that. Bobby trains Brian Rose, who I just signed up recently. And I ended up going over to Belfast. I was staying at Eamon McGee's dad's house, and Eamon McGee's dad weren't there. Obviously, he'd passed away, but there was an empty house there in the middle of Ardoyne, in the middle of Belfast, which is probably one of the roughest, notorious ghettos in Belfast. And it was mad. It was mad. I'll be honest. Like, there was riots at the time. There was like cars on fire at the bottom of the street, and I was going out doing my run in the morning, thinking, "Fucking hell! I hope I don't bump into anyone, because if I bump into the wrong crew here, I'm fucked." Anyway, what's it called? I loved it, and I went over there, sparred. Everyone sparred me, and then Paul McCloskey was fighting Manuel Perez. And Manuel Perez, because I know my boxing and I knew my guys at the time, he was 5'7". He was unbeaten. He had a draw with Brandon Rios, so he was a really good fighter. And I went, "Look, I'm 5'7" and I throw a lot of punches. I'll be perfect sparring," because what happened is Peter McDonough, the Cinderella man Peter McDonough, was meant to be coming over to spar with McCloskey that week, and he didn't turn up that week, and he said he's not going to be there for a few weeks. So I'm like, I'll jump in, I'll do it. Anyway, I got in there, and I remember, and Paul McCloskey will say it himself, I remember giving him an hard time in sparring. We only did four rounds and 6 rounds. That's all we used to spar. We used to do that every day. And he used to, and I loved it. And I was in there every day, sparring every day. I loved it. And yeah, so then I ended up Dave Caldwell, signed with Dave Caldwell. When I moved from Manchester, I ended up moving to Belfast for 10 months. Caldwell were managing me, and from the Hattons, and Caldwell said, "Look, I'm willing to roll the dice with you," because I was like, "Look, don't get me a fight with a journeyman, because I don't want to fight a journeyman. I would just have to push myself to the limits, because I've come from fighting like the best amateurs in the world, like your Michael Conlons of the world, who went on to go to the Olympics twice and medal and world amateur champion. I'd beat him, and then I've gone to fighting journeymen when really I wanted to be fighting British titles straight away. But obviously, at the time I didn't understand the game, and I learned the game. I learned it fast, and I wanted to roll the dice myself. I wanted to see how good I was. So when Dave Caldwell signed me up, he ended up getting me a warm-up fight on the Cal Froch undercard when Froch fought Lucian Beauty. I boxed on that undercard, and that was surreal. It was I was in the ring at 4:45, 15 minutes before the doors opened, so all my people didn't even get in on time yet. But I remember fighting Jason Nesbitt. Obviously, it was only a journeyman, but it was just a warm-up fight for the area title fight. And I remember dropping him heavy in the second or third round. And I remember thinking, wow, the size of him, we were like 10 stone 12, yeah. And I never fought bigger than 9 stone 9 before. So I'm seeing the size of him. I looked across the ring and I thought, wow, they've put the wrong guy in the ring. So I started laughing, thinking, oh, that's the wrong one. His back's massive. I can't be fighting him. Anyway, went to the centre of the ring, and it was that, oh, I'm fighting this guy. I'm thinking, fucking hell, he's massive, you know what I mean? Anyway, I thought, fuck it. If I'm going to be world champion, it's going to happen for me. So I just put my head down and started fucking throwing bombs. A bit like Joe Laws it was. I put my head down and started swinging. Anyway, I tagged him on the top of his head, and he went down like a sack of spuds. And Eddie Irma sat there ringside, and I thought, yeah, mate, I've just done the business here now, you know what I mean? But my hands, I couldn't finish him. My hands were so sore. I was whacking him so hard in his head. And his head, it was hurting my hands more than his head. My hands were black when I got out, and they were bruised for a week. And John Breen said to me, because I was probably walking around at 11 stone then as well. And he goes, how are you going to make 9 stone 9 in 4 weeks' time? I went, listen, if I have to sit in a sauna, I will sit in a sauna. Don't worry about it. I'll make the weight. And as it was, because it was summer, June 2012, the weight fell off me, because I was in it. Obviously John Breen's gym's like a sauna anyway, and it was really hot. I was sweating loads. I was losing 10 pounds in a session, and rehydrating, losing another 10 pounds and stuff like that. Obviously it's not good for you, but the same is that I felt like I was getting called the Brandon Rios of the UK at the time. So I was thinking, I think I was clever with it all. I thought, I'm just going to play with it. I'm just going to see how I can make my face look like a skeleton, get in there and then knock somebody out. And it was funny because Joe Elford had beat Joe Hughes the fight before me. Joe Hughes was my England captain when I boxed for England, when Callum Smith, Anthony Fowler, Jazza Dickens, Ian Weaver, John Quigley. There was loads of top fighters. Danny Benson, there was loads of top fighters. And Joe Hughes was the England captain. Obviously, Joe Hughes has fought everyone now. You see Joe Hughes has fought Robbie Davies. He's a really good fighter. Joe Hughes was the England captain, and he got beat off Joe Elford. And they said I not watched one tape of Joe Elford before I fought him. I didn't know what he'd box like. You know what I mean? All I know is that he sparred Frankie Gavin before Frankie went to the Olympics, and he was meant to be pretty good. He was a bit of an handful. He beat Joe Hughes, and I thought, whoever it is, I'm going to walk him down and I'm going to knock him out. And it's simple as that, you know what I mean? So I didn't prepare for the fight. I prepared myself for what I was going to do. I trained so hard. There were no one who trained harder than me. And still to the day, I've had the gym for 7 or 8 years now. I've still never met anybody who can train as hard as me and go on what I used to do. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning every morning running 8 miles, you know what I mean? So anyway, when I ended up fighting Joe Elford, I did exactly what I thought I'd do. A 21-year-old, I walked him down and I knocked him out in the 5th round. And I think it was the 5th or the 6th. It was one of them. And
body shot,
I actually went, body shot. And it actually went quicker than I thought it would. Because I thought, I'm going to get him, but it's going to be 8 or 9 rounds. But I remember hitting him thinking, bastard, I've only got you with half a shot there. But it was half a shot what was good enough to finish him, you know what I mean? I remember he leant over to his left and put his right elbow up. And as he did that, I could see his ribs, and I thought, "You're done, mate." Like, and I hit him, but I didn't feel like I fully connected. But I got him, and I hit him on the sweet spot, and that was that.
That was that, and then that takes you like you had one more, and then it was the crawler build up, yeah.
So I meant to go into the prize fighter, but through personal problems going on outside the ring, my team, which was Dave Caldwell and John Breen and Eamon McGee. John Breen and Eamon McGee said, "Look, you're starting too late. It's taking you 3 rounds to get into it. So if that's 3 rounds done, you're out the competition." He said, "Like, you can't start slow with this." So they went, "Look, just do a 6-rounder, keep like just to stay active, and then we'll do the English title fight," which was on the cards because I won the English title eliminator. I didn't know it was meant to be Tommy Coyle, but Tommy Coyle went a different avenue, different route. He was 13-0 Central Area champion. I was 13-0 Central Area champion. I got my 6-rounder and in my 6-rounder, I actually got a cut on my eye. I had 7 stitches on my eye through an head clash. And that healed up, and I was like, "Look, whoever it is, let's go," like that. And he was like, there was Derry Matthews, Tommy Coyle, Anthony Crawler, Gary Sykes. There was like 4 or 5 names putting an act to me. And Dave Cole said, "I've got you to fight." And I'm like, right, buzzing. I thought it was Tommy Coyle. I said, "Look, I can't wait to shut his fucking mouth for him," you know what I mean? Anyway, he said, "No, I think you're on the wrong lines, Kieran." I went, right, sound. He went, I said, "So it's either Derry Matthews or Anthony Crawler." I said, "It's one of them." I was like buzzing. It's Anthony Crawler. It's Anthony Crawler. This, I know it is. But me and Anthony Crawler, we've been friends since before we come across each other in the pros. He used to come and watch me amateur fights. So when in 2007, 2008, I used to look up to Anthony Crawler as a 6-0, 7-0 professional, and he used to watch my amateur fights and come and support me. And as it turned out, you make your idols your rivals, and that's what happened. And I thought, mate, it doesn't matter who it is. I'm going to walk through them and I'm going to knock them out. You know what I mean? So, and I went into there. I probably changed the tactics a little bit in that fight where John Breen asked me to do quantity rather than quality. Now, I normally look for quality, whereas I say I'm looking to knock them out. But then what happened is in the fight before, which was the 14 fight, I was loading up a little bit too much. Whereas if I just let the shots go a little bit more, I probably would have gotten a stoppage against the kid. But then, as it was, I was holding on to the shots. So when I was sparring for the Crawler fight, it was just all about let's throw 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 10s. Just throw everything at him. Throw the kitchen sink at him and just keep throwing, and you'll break him down. In the fight, felt like it was a good 50-50 fight. It was close, really close. The scorecards on 2 of the cards didn't reflect the fight. It was actually Terry O'Connor's card, which was 6-4, which he actually had that right there. I'll give him that one. He had that one right. And if I scored, I thought I won the fight. Before the decision was announced, I thought I won the fight. Then, obviously, what happened, my brother jumps in the ring. John Breen jumps in the ring. John Breen puts me on his shoulders. He puts me down. I'm claiming victory, but I can't even barely hold my hand up. I'm like just sagging over the top of him. He put me down, and my brother was in the ring, and he put his hands on my shoulders. He said, "You won that fight, kids," like that. And I just looked at him, and he went, "Are you all right?" And I went, "Nah, everything's dizzy." And it just felt like the room was spinning violently fast. And I felt like I was on like some sort of merry-go-round that went too fast. And then I remember collapsing. Then the next thing I remember was being in the corner, and the doctor was shining a torch in my eye. It was a Scottish doctor shining the torch in my eye. Like, "Kieran, can you respond, Kieran? Can you?" And there was no response from me. And my brother, I looked very unwell, and they put me on the stretcher, put the gas and air on me. I'll be honest, from that point, I can't remember the ambulance trip. My mum said that I was fitting in the back of the ambulance, and she was shouting at me, saying, "Your dad's going to be fucking unhappy with you. You better fucking pack it in." You know what I mean? You know, like anything to sort of bring me around. And I got to the hospital. my mum and there was like I was unconscious. I was under scans, everything. I had a bleed on the brain. My mum had to fill out a form to say, look, if your son's head doesn't stop bleeding inside the brain, we're gonna have to drill into his head. Can you sign this form so we can drill into his head? Anyway, she had to sign the form. Everyone's shitting themselves, and they come out. The blood was dispersing, which was a good sign. Kept putting me on the scans every hour. Blood's dispersed. I was unconscious at all this time. I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. And then I woke up the next day, and then there was my brother, my dad was at the side of the bed, and my mum, obviously, and my older brother. And I remember looking at I said to my brother, I said to our Nathan, I said, what was the scorecard? I said, have you got my belt? I said, I've got my belt. And he went, nah, kids, it's bollocks, he said. I went, what do you mean? He went, you didn't get the decision. I went, oh, fuck off. I went, joking, man. And he went, nah. I said, like, what are the scorecards? He went, you don't want to know. I went, fucking tell me what they are now. He was like 98, 93, 98, 92. Like, fuck this. Like, I thought, I might as well not even been in the ring, you know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's boxing, and that's what it is. And but I love the sport, so no one could actually understand when I'm in my recovery. All I want to do is watch a bit of boxing. I've got my iPad at the side of my bed. Can't get out of my bed. I'm in my bed. I was bedridden for 8 weeks, and all I wanted to do was watch a bit of boxing. And then I was watching these knockouts, and it was like ESPN Fight Night or something like that. And I was like, Nate, come up here now. Look at this for a knockout. And he's like, fucking hell, you sick cunt. He said, like, I can't watch this shit. I can't watch this shit. And I was like, I couldn't understand why he couldn't watch it, but I love the sport. I love it with my heart. And I if anything, I loved it even more. Even what happened to me, I loved it even more, but I crave something. And what I crave is success. And the success I crave is not doing all the shit what I've been doing. I've been doing all that shit, and I love doing that anyway. That's great. But I really, really, really want to have a world champion, mate. I want a world champion. I crave it badly. And I went to a Frank Bruno night the last few years, and it was a bit disappointing because they were like, right, Frank, you've worked hard all your life. You raised that WBC title over your head. How does it feel? And he was like, nah, not really that good. And I'm like, what, you dick? I'm like, this is bang out, boy. I was like, fuck you, Frank. What's this about? You know what I mean? Anyway, it was a bit disappointing that he said that, but I'll be honest, until I taste it myself, then I'll say, you know what I mean? Then I'll know, you know what I mean? But I need to find out for myself whether Frank's telling the truth or not, you know what I mean?
Let's go back to the hospital. What was the aftermath like? How did your family react to all that? So you're sat there with your iPad watching your boxing still. What about your mum and dad? Are they going, Kieran?
My mum was put on antidepressants at the doctors. I Nathan ballooned up to 15 stone. My older brother, he just cracked on with it, but I know that he was affected. It affected my whole family, mate. My dad was well, you know what I mean? Like, my dad had a drink and that, and he were fucking fuming with the sport. They all fell out with the sport because they felt like, not like the sport's to blame, but like, I don't know, like I've worked hard. I used to be that dedicated. If it were pissing down outside, I had a treadmill. I bought a treadmill when I was 15. Like, when I said I got dedicated, I bought a treadmill when I was 15. That was in the front room, the living room at my mum's house. And all they heard was at 4 o'clock in the morning was boom, 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 like that, because I was pounding the treadmill and all that hard work. And everyone believed in me. And I believed in myself. And I'm like, it's done. It's a done thing. This is easy. All I got to do is put the work in. That's the easy bit for me. I'm going to be world champion. I'm talented enough. I'm aggressive enough. I've got I was vicious. I was vicious in the ring, and there was just nothing stopping me. And then that happened, and that was the last thing what you could ever think was going to happen. Any fighter now will tell you the same thing. You know, well, you don't think that you're going to go in the ring and that could be your last time in the ring. I didn't think it at night. I still believed that I could fight after it. I didn't actually know how bad my injury was till probably 4 months later when I went back to the hospital and they said, look, they're surprised that I walked through the door by myself. And I was like, because they thought I'd be getting pushed in by a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. I couldn't actually walk for like 2 months, you know what I mean? It was mad. It was bad. Like the injury was bad. You know what I mean? I was like stiff and couldn't do any. I couldn't do a lot of things. I couldn't even use a knife and fork properly at first. But it's just through how fit I was. This is what the doctor said anyway. Just through how fit I was, I had like something like 24 beats per minute. My heart was just like I didn't need oxygen to live. I was that fit, and he just said through your fitness and your youth, that's what took you to this point now, and this is why you've recovered so well. And I'll be honest, when I look back, me will now, in 2013 when I opened the gym, I was still poorly. 2014, I was recovering, and in 2015, when I got my manager's license, I was pushed there. My missus said to me, "Why can't you do it?" And I was like, "Fuck it, why can't I? Why can't I do it?" And I thought, let's just do it. And then she was like, "Why can't you get your promoter's license?" I'm like, "You can't just do that. You can't just do that." And I thought, then I sat down and I thought, you know what? I can just fucking do it. Fuck it. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? And then I got my promoter's license 2016. I left it 6 months because I thought I want to make sure when I do my first show, it's the perfect thing. And I did it a week before my birthday. And I was 25-year-old, done a professional management, professional promotions, professional coach, and I'm doing good, mate. You know what I mean?
So I think what you said there, and listen, I can't say the doctor's wrong, by the way, but you said the doctor said about your physical fitness. I think you've got some serious mental strength, mate, from what you've been talking about.
Yeah.
I think that is probably what pulled you through, mate.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. I feel like, you know, like when you're on about placebo effects and stuff like that, where you tell yourself something and you believe it. Like if I give you a vial and I say this is magic potion, you believe that you're gonna get really fit in that. Then I sort of played with my own head doing that because I always believed, Will, that I was all right. I thought, look, I come out of hospital and I thought, well, fuck it, I'm gonna have to move up a weight because the weight making is a bit hard for me. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm sat in my bed while I couldn't even move, and I'm pissing in a jug, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I'm just going to move up to 10 stone now. So like my mum and dad were coming in with a cup of tea for me or anything. I'm like, yeah, don't worry, mum, I'm going to move up to 10 stone. Tyrone Nurse is there. He's my friend and that, but, you know, like business is business, you know what I mean? And she's like, what the fuck is this kid about? You know what I mean? But yeah, do you all know what I'm like anyway, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm just buzzing to be doing what I'm doing now, mate, to be fair.
Right, let's move on then. Let's move on to what you do now. So,
Yep.
So you talked about Bobby Rimmer before, obviously Brian Rose as well. I spoke to both them the last couple of months. What a duo, by
what a duo, mate. There was a duo back in 2008 when I met them. There was a duo with them, mate. They're mad.
I love the banter. I mean, I'm talking to Bobby about him and stuff, and then he's going, yeah, but let me tell you about Brian. Let me tell you this story. So listen, it feels right now. So what I'm saying is, I think, well, you're making moves. So you've got Brian. So you're doing it at both spectrums. So if you think, I'll just mention two names for now. There's plenty more, but you've got Brian Rose. You got Patsy Joyce, yeah?
Yeah.
Both ends of the spectrum. You've got a seasoned pro. And there's a question later on from one of the viewers about that. And then you've got Patsy Joyce, who could be, anything, couldn't he? Let's be honest.
Little Patsy Joyce, I'll be honest. He has took the bull by the horns, mate. I'll be honest. If you're talking about the pandemic, and if you want to know about one person who's took the bull by the horns, everyone in the boxing vicinity knows who Patsy Joyce is. He's all over social media, mate. He's a top kid, you know what I mean? And I like it. You know what? I actually set him off doing that, you know. I said to him, I'm going to build my Facebook page up and that. We just like this, share this, do this, yeah. Then all of a sudden I got bombarded. Like this, Kieran. Do this, Kieran. Share my page, Kieran. I'm like, fucking hell, man. You know what I mean? You're brutal, but I like him, you know what I mean? So I always give him a call and that. We always stay in touch, and he's a top kid. I like him, and I wish him all the best. Patsy Joyce, a good kid, 33-0, and who knows how far he can go. He's doing really well, though.
I think he's going to tell me, mate. He's coming on in a couple of weeks, so that's going to be really interesting, mate. But yeah, that's great. So, right, where does this dream finish? And I say dream because of what you've been through. This is like you wouldn't have ever doing this, would you, if you were still boxing?
No. I'll be honest. It's like when you think about training fighters and stuff like that. That was never meant to happen till maybe when I was 45-year-old. I was one of them guys who wanted to be like Bernard Hopkins. I wanted to be fighting till 50, you know what I mean? But Yeah, the training and all that, it never really meant to happen till later on. But as it is, you play the card you dealt, and that's what I'm doing. And I don't know where the dream ends. I'll be honest, I'm in it for the love of the sport. I love boxing. I can't say that. Look, give me 10 million now, and I'm going to stop doing it because I'm not. I'm not going to stop doing it. So if I make 10 million, then I'm not going to stop doing it, mate. You know what I mean? So you know what? I probably put 9.5 million back into boxing, mate. That's probably what I'll end up doing. I probably end up getting finished by my missus and everything because I've wasted all the money, mate. I've said, oh look, I need to put in some purse bids for this big world title fight. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I don't know where it ends, mate. I'll be honest, I'm just enjoying the journey. I've got plenty of goals. Like I say, I want to get world champion. Maybe start with Amy Timlin winning that Commonwealth title this year. She'll win that Commonwealth title. Get Brian Rose to fight with Scott Fitzgerald. Hopefully he can. I think Brian's good enough to beat him. And Brian's got the fire in his belly again, and it's hard for me to explain that to anyone because all it is people will just think, all right, he's finished, he's past it, he's just looking for a payday. Brian Rose doesn't need the money. He wants to. Whilst he's not been boxing, he never said he was retired. Whilst he's not been boxing, it's affected his mental health and everything. He needs to be fighting. He still needs it, and it's going to do him the world of good. And hopefully, we can make this fight with Scott Fitzgerald. Scott Fitzgerald's got it all to prove. Brian Rose got nothing to prove. He's just got to get in there and box. And we all know what Brian Rose is capable of doing. If Brian Rose boxes behind his jab, I think he can jab his head off, I'll be honest. And keeping Scott off him's going to be hard enough. But the big if is which Scott Fitzgerald do we get? We get Scott Fitzgerald, the madman, or we get Scott Fitzgerald, the guy who's, I don't know, who can box really good. You know, we don't know which one we'll get. So it's a test for Scott. And Brian Rose is ready to dance, mate. You know what I mean?
Well, mate, I was about to say, all right, we'll finish there and we'll go on to the questions from the viewers. And you've just answered one of them, mate. The first question was, great news on the signing of Brian Lyon. Can you deliver in the Scott Fitzgerald fight? So you've just answered that. So let's hope.
Hopefully, mate. I hope to deliver it, mate. That's what I'm here for. Kieran Farrell Promotions, hoping to deliver the big fights, mate. You know what I mean?
Can't wait for that one, mate. Next question then, bud. Tower. Must be a big fella, this guy. What's the sales pitch to fighters when you want to sign them up?
Depends who it is, really. You know what I mean? Because to be honest, I've had since signing Brian and signing a couple of other fighters, I've been inundated with the amount of people contacting me, and I don't advise people. I don't recommend professional boxing to people who have not boxed amateur before. But then on rare occasions, it can be done. You know what I mean? If you look at what's the kid's name now? Is a kid heavyweight English champion. What's he called?
Yeah, white collar. He's done all white collar, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Fabio Wardley.
Fabio Wardley, mate. Fabio Wardley's on a rare occasion. So I feel unfair to say, look, fuck off. I don't want to say that to him. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. What I have been saying to him is, look, we'll have a look at you. I'll have a look at you when I can open the gym again. You can come down, give me a message, and we'll have a look at you. That's all I can say for now. But yeah, my pitch signing fighters up. Look, it's all different. It's like Brian Rose is different than Niall Fielding. Niall Fielding is different than the kid who's never had an amateur fight. You know what I mean? So it's all different. But look, it's about being busy. It's about fighting and living your life and doing epic shit. And that's what life's about. Life's just not about sitting there watching everyone else's shit. It's about going doing your own shit. And the difference is what I've always found, Will, of what I do and other people do is that I actually do and they don't do. They watch me do. You know what I mean? And that's all I can say. My advice to anyone with the dream of boxing professional and stuff like that is go and do it. You know what I mean? Go out there and do it. Whatever. Go and find somebody with good knowledge and prevail on. You got to push yourself. You know what I mean? You got to push yourself in life to get anything you want. You got to push yourself. So that's it.
Last question, mate. You ready for this? It's a big one.
Go on.
What's your top 3 chocolate bars?
top three chocolate bars. Ah, right. So this is a difficult question. See, I normally have this with the Broom biscuits, but the Broom biscuits, I like chocolate hobnobs. You know what I mean? So, they're biscuits though. Right. Let me think of bars. So the best bar you can buy is actually called the Fox Classic. You get multi packs of like 10 or 12 of the Fox Classic. Mate,
No,
they are the best. The Fox Classics. Go on.
That is proper. That is basic, isn't it? Fox
right.
Classic,
well, then I'd say a Cadbury's caramel would be a go-to chocolate bar. If I was going to get a bit of a munch and I'd get like one of them £1.20 bars, and buy that bar, caramel, Cadbury's caramel. And then my third one, it might be a bit underrated, this, but I'd say a toffee crisp, mate. A toffee crisp.
Yeah,
nice bar. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people, like it's just a bit underrated. I think, you know what I mean.
Do you know what, my daughter?
It's hard to say because I can't really say my top three because I'm like I'll eat anything in the cupboard. You know what I mean? Like Yorkie bars are nice, but that I don't think they exist anymore. Do they? You know what I mean? I'm not too sure whether they exist. The Yorkie bars.
Yorkie raisin is the one, isn't it? That was a good one.
I don't like raisins. I can't stop it.
Man, well, you've got